come to the garden alone, when the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Shamanism is an ecstasy that we earn. Indeed. Years ago, while in my early 20s, my shaman teacher told me, "You've fallen in love with spirit, and your muses will be your lovers." And later in that same session, when I asked for reassurance on my choice to follow my dream to become a singer, she encouraged me, saying, "Yes, you'll be singing for their lives." I've had quite a few years to meditate on the deeper meaning of her words, and many times have communed with my angels and spirit guides on my soul's purpose in this world, and the function my singing plays in that purpose. In walking the sometimes painful, yet always deeply enriching and rewarding footsteps of my recent forgiveness journey, I must admit that the most difficult aspects of these many betrayals I've had to forgive have been not at their very core the ways in which all of these people have betrayed me, but in particular those muses, those creative partners of mine. I've had to journey deeply within to forgive them for the ways in which they've betrayed themselves and their own souls. And then I get real with myself. Because I know that if I'm judging a given situation so much that I even feel the need to forgive, I must be judging myself and the moment somehow as not already perfect, just as it is. Yes, horrible, horrible things have happened to me in this lifetime. My primary childhood caretaker suffers from many mental illnesses, most notably borderline and narcissistic personality disorder traits, sociopathy, and tragically, Munchausen by proxy syndrome. She routinely used poisons to make me sick. She's an ill woman who came from an ill system, a system into which she was born. And, like most human beings who live an unexamined life, she did her best to perpetuate said system. Those of you who experience my work as a clarion call, a call to action, quite likely have suffered greatly yourselves. And so it is incumbent upon all of us resilient enough to keep our hearts open to be the pattern breakers. We do this through healing ourselves first. We find ourselves walking through many gateways along the path to wholeness, and if we're lucky, as we raise our vibrational frequencies, we are afforded a fresh perspective, a perspective that takes in the long view. In moments of deep meditation, past life memories sometimes trickle in, and we catch glimpses of the soul contracts we agreed to before this lifetime, and the larger arc and trajectory of our soul's mission across many lifetimes. You see, not every soul comes to the earth school knowing how to love, or how to stay connected to love. And very quickly, for a young soul who lives in the lower vibrational frequencies, the earth plane can become the hell realm. Those of us who know how to love and how to live from our hearts know intuitively how to raise our own vibrations. Yet, as baby humans, in this earthly incarnation, we look to our elders to teach us. At this pivotal moment in Mother Earth's trajectory, though, we need to step up. The healing process we heart warriors must traverse, this sometimes bitterly challenging inner terrain, as multifaceted as a diamond and as circuitous oftentimes as a labyrinth, demands courage of conviction. I don't know how to do it without God. I don't know how to do it without my spirit guides, without my ancestors, and without my angels. I didn't always know I was clairvoyant. My childhood, a brutal prison, pushed me deep inside, into a place where I just listened. I listened in part as a trauma response, to try to psychically anticipate my caregiver's wants and needs to keep myself safe. And I listened because the caresses of my angels were nearly the only comforts I ever received. Just as the hymn In the Garden coaxes us, I come to the garden alone, when the dew is still on the roses and the voice I hear, falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. I thought everyone had that. And I couldn't understand why they were all so mean. And so in my young adulthood, the only people I ever opened up to were other musicians. And even then, I didn't stay open for very long. My guides felt more loving and more compelling than other people, and I followed wherever they led me. I left a full ride and a generous stipend in a graduate program in singing with very little explanation, and I left many friendships without saying very much. And when my trauma memories, heinous memories from childhood began to surface, I told my parents that I remembered being sexually abused and said that I couldn't be in touch with them if they didn't avail themselves of professional help. Though I believe that the unbelievable lengths that all of these abusers have gone to harm me recently serves to illustrate that my guides were correct in getting me swiftly out from this sick and broken system, I need to own and clean up my side of the fence. If all of these people felt justified in their quest to end me, I must have hurt some hearts along the way. And for that, I humbly and deeply apologize. I thought that everyone had access to the internal guidance system that I follow, and I believe that we all do. In fact, this situation has galvanized my commitment to bringing shamanism to this Western, non-shamanic culture of ours, to demystify it, and to guide others into its initiatory and very blessed practices. The truth always sets me free, and at the highest level, all of these people have served as blessed teachers and guides for me. I've witnessed beauty in every one of their hearts and souls, and thus found myself quite shocked at their vitriol towards me. On the surface, they all have much more money and status than I do. Over the years, on paper, they've looked like the ones who were winning. Healing isn't glamorous. It demands that we tend to a process of constant death and rebirth, And so as I devoted myself to this process, by the Matrix's standards, I looked like the loser. And it took a lot of self-love, but eventually I became okay with that. As healing what ailed me, healing my heart, nourished me in unspeakably rich ways. As shamans, we dig deep to find the original wounds, and we try to sing our souls home to that place. We gather the scattered parts of ourselves lost to trauma, and we recognize that everyone on our path is a mirror for us. Their wounds mirroring fractures within ourselves, crying out for healing. This entire experience has deepened my self-love immeasurably. It's aided me in releasing some of the lies of the Matrix that were still unconsciously at play within my psyche. The Matrix banks on us believing that we're not lovable, just as we are. And therein lies the narcissistic wound, the original sin, the belief that we could be, even for an instant, separate from our Creator. The incredible Jungian psychologist and scholar, Dr. Marie-Louise von Franz explains, one of the most wicked, destructive forces, psychologically speaking, is unused creative power. If someone has a creative gift and out of laziness or some other reason doesn't use it, the psychic energy turns to sheer poison. That's why we often diagnose neuroses and psychotic diseases as not lived higher possibilities. If someone doesn't love themselves, they don't have the courage, coming from the French word cœur, meaning heart, to bring forth all that is good, true, and beautiful inside of themselves. Indeed, when the heart is shut down, we don't even know ourselves, and thus all of that untapped and unexplored creative potential becomes unremitting malignancy within the soul. Cross-cultural anthropologist and writer Dr. Angeles Arrien states, in many shamanic societies, if you came to a medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask one of 4 questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted by stories? When did you stop being comforted by the sweet territory of silence? And Dr. Thomas Lewis, psychologist and author of the groundbreaking work, A General Theory of Love, explains, too many Americans are spurred to achieve rather than to attach. The Matrix lies to us. It tells us that if we have more beauty, more achievement, more money, and more status, then someday we will finally be lovable. But it's a trap. Because we live in a holographic universe and can only attract to ourselves what we already are. We all crave love, and yet trying to achieve, to make ourselves more lovable, feeds into the narcissistic wound and only makes it grow. It eats us alive from the inside out. And so, as all of these predators in my life stole my money and my energy to build themselves up on the outside, as they sabotaged all of my external efforts to provide for myself and spent spells and demonic witchcraft to take away my health and all of the external trappings of a good life, they unwittingly deprived me of all of the glittery matrix distractions from the deep work of soul retrieval. There was nowhere for me to go but deeper and deeper inside my own heart, where I attached more and more fully to my non-physical allies in a beautiful shamanic dance in which I focused solely on raising my own vibrational frequency. And every attempt on my life thinned the veil between me and my angels. Did I look crazy? By the Matrix's standards, everything not rooted in self-rejection and self-hatred is crazy. So if I choose to not forgive them, I simply blame them for still being ensnared in a deeply flawed and evil system, but that by the grace of God, I've escaped. And any unforgiveness left in me, only a product of fear, would keep me vibrationally tethered to said fear-based system. I choose to walk the path of miracles and the path of unity consciousness. Spirit blessed me with the practice of soul retrieval 17 years ago. In stark contrast, by making countless attempts to harm me, my abusers deeply wounded themselves, as at the highest level, we are all one. They sold their souls, while I retrieved mine. We cannot jump timelines, truly a miracle of the quantum field, without full and complete forgiveness. As the forgiveness of the Christed heart, the consciousness of the chosen anointed ones, have come to usher into the earth plane, literally collapses the quantum wave and creates the timeline of heaven on earth. I hold the vision that eventually, in one lifetime or another, we will all find our way back to the garden. And so it is.